All right, welcome to Is This Normal? You know me, I'm Anthony, joined by my good friend Parker. Parker, how you doing?
I'm doing good today.
Good. You ready to talk some sports?
I am. We're ready to talk about some NFL free agency predictions.
You said it best. We are getting into all things NFL free agency. We're just getting warmed up. We've got a lot of good takes that we think you guys are going to love to hear about. So, getting right into it, we're just going to go over a few of the big name players here. We're going to start with a guy who a lot of people are saying is the biggest name on the market right now. He just been informed he's going to be released a couple days ago. Russell Wilson. So, Parker, talk to me. What's going on with Russell Wilson right now?
Russell Wilson just got released yesterday.
Just got released.
Very up and down tenure with the Broncos for 2 years. Went 11-19. Missed the playoffs of both years.
I was going to say, when was it up?
Very underwhelming to say the least, especially from what that trade's looking like to be very lopsided in the Seahawks.
Could argue the worst trade we've ever seen, really.
It was pretty bad.
I mean, two firsts, 2 seconds, Drew Lock,
It was very bad.
like one or two other, yeah.
They're cutting him off their cap, and now he's going to be a free agent, so anybody has the opportunity to sign him.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. Denver's actually eating the largest dead cap in NFL history.
I believe it.
$85 million.
That is a very big
They're
chunk
paying
of
him
money.
$85 million not to play there.
Well, that's when you know you're really bad, is when they're willing to pay almost $100 million.
He wasn't that
to get rid
bad
of him.
last year. Look,
No,
26 touchdowns, 8 picks. He wasn't that bad last year.
Yeah, if you look at the stats, he wasn't too bad. It was just the team around him got worse.
There's no consistency, no rhythm. I don't know what really happened there. But anyway, so he is a free agent, like you said, first time in his career. So, what's a good fit for him? What are you hearing? Where's some teams where you think Russ could land?
I mean, there's been rumors that the Raiders could potentially snag him. I know they definitely need a quarterback since they're not probably going to get rid of, but not keep Garoppolo.
No.
And their only quarterback really is Aiden O'Connell, who was average at best.
Yeah.
He would definitely be, I think, a pretty decent fit there. You could also look at a bunch of other teams. I know that Baker and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are in talks of doing a extension.
Yeah.
But I think if you're Tampa, you might be like, well, he might be a little bit better of a quarterback than Baker. But I don't know if you'd want to play that wild card rather than a guy what you're going to get from him.
Right.
Every single week.
Right.
Like Baker.
I'm looking at teams that make sense. I feel like New England is one, really. New England. I almost feel like Russ is a guy who you could throw a lot of money at for a couple of years while you're just trying to stay afloat and rebuild the culture, I feel like. And especially if all the reports are true and New England takes a QB at 3. I mean, I could see the benefits of maybe taking a Drake May or a Jaden Daniels and them sitting behind Russ for a couple of years.
I could see that.
I mean,
or maybe a team like Atlanta.
Atlanta's ready to win. I mean, Atlanta. Well, we'll get to Atlanta in a few minutes here, but Atlanta's one that could make sense. I feel like he could be a good maybe plan B or plan C down in Atlanta.
I could see that. Or a team who their quarterback's going into free agency this year would be the Minnesota Vikings. Maybe they could try to snag 35-year-old quarterback.
Just trade 35-year-old quarterbacks.
That's right. Unless you can get Russell Wilson for cheaper than Kirk Cousins, because he's probably going to get, I think, overpaid.
Well, Kirk's going to get paid.
Yeah, he's going to get paid like he did with, probably not like with Minnesota, because they paid a pretty decent amount for him.
They did.
But yeah, definitely not going back to Denver.
No. Well, we're past
Obviously.
that. No. Any sleeper teams? Did you feel like could make a move for Russ?
Sleeper teams for us?
Maybe think outside the box.
I think a fun one would be the Saints. They trade Derek Carr, bring in Russell, but I highly doubt.
Derek Carr lets some people down. Derek Carr lets some people down.
Yeah, as someone who's watched Derek Carr for many years, he's at times above average, but when it comes down to it, he's kind of a middle of the pack kind of guy.
Yeah, he's not the guy.
He's one of those guys to where there's a lot worse quarterbacks, and there's way better quarterbacks than him, but it's like, do you really want to risk, letting him go and then drafting somebody who's going to be worse? He's kind of like Baker Mayfield. You know what you're going to get from him.
Right. So the other big quarterback who a lot of people are looking at here, we talked about him a little bit, is Kirk Cousins.
Mm-hmm.
So me personally, when I'm looking at Kirk, I see a guy who wants to win,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of a weird story because Kirk's never won. Kirk's never been to the Super Bowl. Kirk has like one or two playoff wins in his career. He's not taking any kind of a discount though once he hits free agency.
No,
here.
probably not.
No. Well, he said that he's not actually, and he's told Minnesota that. So I mean, do you have any thoughts there? Any opinions? Any feedback?
Well, the one team that comes to mind is the team we just talked about, the Denver Broncos.
That's one.
They definitely need a quarterback. Fun fact, they've had 12 quarterbacks since Peyton Manning retired back in 2015.
Yeah.
After the 2015 season, rather.
Yeah.
So, Denver is probably probably his best option.
I could see it. I could see that making sense. I could see Kirk Cousins really stepping into Sean Payton's offense and being successful right away, especially a situation like Denver, maybe, kind of like we alluded to with New England. Denver wants to get a young quarterback, whether it's at 12 or in the later rounds, and let them sit behind Kirk for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think that could be the ideal situation.
Or maybe Atlanta. That would be fun too, because if they get Kirk and he stays healthy, I mean, they could potentially win the division.
Atlanta makes the most sense to me, honestly.
Yeah.
For Kirk, if we're sitting, I feel like that's the team that is a team that's so close to being ready to win a lot of games. I mean, Bijan can play.
Yeah.
Drake London can play. Kyle Pitts. I mean, eventually Kyle Pitts has got to be good.
He's gonna have to break out one of these years. Well, they're gonna have to throw him the ball.
Yes,
In order
they
to
haven't
do
done
that.
that.
No.
They haven't done that.
But I think, I think if Atlanta, they could possibly make the playoffs.
And they'll have the cap
that
space to
division.
go get Kirk too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a weak division. I mean, Tampa was a nice story, but Tampa just barely snuck in the playoffs anyway.
Mm-hmm.
New Orleans is dysfunctional. Carolina's a dumpster fire.
Very
No
bad.
reason Atlanta shouldn't pursue Kirk Cousins.
I wouldn't see why they wouldn't.
No, I don't see why they wouldn't at all.
They would make sense.
Kind of thinking of a sleeper team, just off the top of my head, a team that might be fun, that could maybe get Kirk Cousins.
Sleeper team.
What about if he went back to Washington?
That would be interesting.
Most cap space in the NFL. I mean, Terry McLaurin's a good player to throw too. You could keep the 2 pick, and you could take Marvin Harrison at 2.
You could. I'm not sure if they really want to go back to Kirk Cousins and they want to just stick with the number 2 pick, get your quarterback, and put that money elsewhere via offensive line, offensive weapons, maybe shore up the defense a little bit.
Yeah.
They
need edge rushers.
Yeah. I think if you do that for Washington, give them some edge rushers, and then give, at least maybe 1 or 2 wide receivers coming out of free agency. Just give them some money. In the past, Washington's been able to give people money. They're not strangers to it. But it has come to bite the Commanders. It's bit them in the past for sure with a lot of their free agent signings, like Albert Hainsworth, who was atrocious for them.
Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah.
That's a signing.
They signed Deion Sanders way back.
Yeah.
And it didn't work out.
Your point stands. So, there are more than quarterbacks that's going to be free agents this year, though.
Yeah.
It's probably... Is it the best running back free agency class we've ever
There's
seen?
a lot of solid running backs out there. We're going away from a running league, so it doesn't really make too much sense to sign a running back for a lot of money when you could just draft a young guy and have close to the same production.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong at all when you say... Part of me thinks it's kind of unfortunate that it's coming to that.
Yeah. Well, it's just different strategies. Like, if you look now, it's like you have to... In order for a lot of teams to win, like the Niners did kind of this season, even though they lost in the Super Bowl, they come back with Brock Purdy, who's on a super low contract, and putting their money elsewhere. So I think for a lot of teams, that's what you want to do. You want to draft your quarterback, have him for the first 4 years, build around him. You can spend the money somewhere else before you got to go and pay the guy. Because look at Minnesota. They signed Cousins for all those years, and they didn't get anything out of him. And now they're just kind of left with just rebuilding.
I think running back's the position where I feel like guys are trying to save as much money as they can right now.
Yeah.
Which, looking at the running backs that are going to hit the market, the one that jumps out to me is Saquon. Where do you think he might go?
Saquon, If the Jets, I think the Jets would be fun. Move across town, go over to New Jersey, play for the New York Jets. Getting Aaron Rodgers back to full health.
Yeah.
Maybe not put him in the premier role as they have Brees Hall coming back, but the Jets would be an interesting one for me.
Saquon could be a featured back on a contending team. I'd like to see him go to Houston. I think it would accelerate C.J. Stroud's development. I think he can lean on Saquon both as a receiver coming out of the backfield, and just a guy to take the load off of him. The fact that Houston would actually have a relevant running attack. You mentioned staying in New York, Buffalo. I feel like Buffalo's a team that could use Saquon's help, give Josh Allen another weapon.
Well, Tennessee's going to be needing a running back because Derrick Henry's going into free agency.
Tennessee, yeah, Derrick Henry. Send Derrick Henry to Houston. I mean, I feel like he's in win now. Well, Derrick Henry will go to a contender.
That would be fun to see him. I think more in Houston just to help out Stroud. I think the only thing you got to worry about with Barkley is his availability of his injuries. I mean, he's been injured in the past. He's missed a few games here and there.
Well, that's part of what the problem with running backs as a whole is right now. I feel like his teams are realizing that these guys aren't durable.
Yeah, I think the only thing with Derrick Henry is that his age and how long he wants his contract to be, because just his style of running doesn't really translate very well later in his career. Power backs aren't usually very good in their later years.
What about Derrick Henry in Baltimore?
That would be a very interesting pick.
I mean, they had a good rushing attack last year. I mean, why not?
I feel like they need a little bit more speed.
So Saquon?
Yeah. I mean, they have a pretty fast-moving offense.
They do.
But, I mean, if they want to go get Derrick Henry, I think it would be a great addition for them if they can get him on a somewhat team-friendly deal.
Well, Derrick Henry, like I said, he's going to go to a contender one way or another.
Yeah. I think for him, if he wants to win, he takes a smaller deal, goes to a contending team. I mean, if he wants big money, he's going to go to a team who's probably maybe on the bubble or just a little bit out of it.
Yeah.
For making it. I think Jacksonville would be fun, even though they have Travis Etienne going there. They just missed the playoffs, too. That might be able to put him over the top.
Young
Plus
quarterback,
wreak some havoc in a division that he knows very well.
Yeah, Derrick Henry. Keep him in town.
Mm-hmm.
Keep him in town. Keep him local. It's personal at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I think another big free agent is Chris Jones going in.
Chris Jones.
Premier inside defensive lineman. He's going to be big. Kansas City not re-signing him. He's heading into free agency. He's been trolling people on Twitter saying that if he goes to the Raiders, that the Chiefs fans will basically kind of disown him, and he sent back a handshake emoji. So that would be very interesting for the Raiders if they could snag Chris Jones.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
They're going to have some money to spend.
They are. Chris Jones is going to go to Washington.
Wow.
Desperately needs edge rushers, and
they got the money.
Chris Jones, he's got his rings. He wants the money.
Well, he could also go to Vegas too. They're always willing to spend some cash.
The Jones-Crosby duo.
If they really want to solidify, if they wanted to go get Russell Wilson and Chris Jones to help out Max Crosby on that defensive line, which would greatly it would just make the defense just extremely better because they've been lacking an inside presence on the defensive line for so many years.
They have. Any other big free agents?
Any other big free agents?
Any other big names you want to take a swing at while we're here? We got a little time left.
Well, I don't know. A lot of them have been tagged. L'Jarius Sneed just got tagged.
Michael Pittman.
By Kansas City.
Michael Pittman. T. Higgins.
Yeah, T. Higgins.
Yeah.
Which is weird that they didn't try to re-sign him to a longer contract. Still a fairly young wide receiver, and I think he's one that Joe Burrow likes to target more than Jamar Chase.
Cincinnati, they're just taking it. With Burrow's contract, they have to take it one season at a time.
That is true.
So, Well, that is all the time we have. I want to thank everyone for joining us. I really enjoyed this conversation. Parker, I hope you say the same.
Oh yeah, it was great.
Don't forget, guys, please hit that like and subscribe. We're going to be coming at you with a lot more great content in the upcoming weeks. But have a good night, everyone. All right, talk soon.
See ya.